Welcome to the PolyInnovator channel, and this is the first video I've posted on here for a hot minute because last month I skipped the video for my birthday. And because every year on July 1st, I have a Now page update that I need to do, but I always feel very iffy about doing stuff on my birthday. It's one of the few days I try to take off for the most part. However, I was also just not feeling it that day. I tried really hard to even just get the blog post out last month. Normally, I don't give myself permission to skip a video like this because the Now page is so important, and I figured, in the future, someone looking back on this, they would want to know what's going on. And so I made sure I got the blog post out, but I kind of regret not doing that video. But I also know why I didn't, and I'll go into that in just a second here. But one thing I'm pretty excited about is that I'm getting a lot stronger. Like you can see in this, just in this lighting, my muscles have gotten bigger, my chest has gotten bigger, my confidence has gotten better, I can see my abs again, the fat has burned off my face a little bit and on my obliques. I still have a lot more to go, and when I weighed myself today, the scale is a little bit iffy on the accuracy, but for the most part it was about 175, which for the last couple weeks I've been sitting around 180 still. I keep fluctuating between 183 and 177, and that's kind of normal, but I've been losing some pounds, which in turn could be some muscle, but I've been doing so much protein and so much strength training and eating so little that really for the most part it's just recomposition. So I'm losing fat but still keeping my muscle. That is great. And I will say, I think for the first couple weeks there was a little bit of spite motivating me, and then after that I kind of had to just motivate myself. But that's exciting. So for context, I told some friends this, but I would love to tell you guys this. I worked out for half my life since I was 15, just turned 30 last month, and literally from around summertime when I was 15, I started working out, and up until 2019, I was doing mainly medium to low intensity reps, but high volume of reps. So I got a lot of that deep muscle built up, a lot of the endurance, despite the fact I'm more naturally a sprinter and fast twitch. And so once I got to the point of doing more heavier stuff, which I was just experimenting with right before COVID happened. So late 2019, early 2020, I curled 100 pounds for the first time. I started doing more bench. I started doing more squats. Post-COVID, I didn't really go to the gym very much because it was closed for a few months. And then even when I went back into it, I really wasn't doing a whole lot. I was still teaching up until 2021 in the pool. And so I had some cardio going, but not much. And then I left the pool. And so I was just doing personal training at that point and trying to do workouts at home. Finally, there was a park near my house so I could do pull-ups, but I was so weak, I couldn't do it. And even now, pull-ups are really hard for me just because of the weight. But back then, I had the weight and no strength, and it was really weird. So I tried doing pull-ups, tried doing push-ups, trying to do squats, which are the trifecta I always talk about. I am writing my exercise book now too, which is really exciting. It's one of the few things I'm motivated to write. And so the point I'm trying to make is that before COVID, I was doing a lot more high rep, low weight. And then post COVID, I started doing a lot more lower reps, but I still kind of did a lot of reps. I would do bench press for 100 pounds 100 times or 50 times. And I didn't do that every single time, but I did it pretty often compared to most people. And then I started doing heavier stuff, and I started getting a lot more, I think I'm on the squat machine, so not the Smith machine, but the squat machine, I did 360 pounds, because I was curious to see what my max was, after squatting 4 kids at a swimming party. And so it was just one of those things where I was like, okay, if I can hold 4 little humans, I feel like I could squat a lot more, and I could. And then from 2023 to 2025, I wasn't doing jack. I did some personal training clients, and I would work out with them a little bit, and I would sometimes work out on my own, but it was 1 or 2 workouts a week for the most part. I wasn't doing enough to make any progress, barely even maintaining what little I had. And then once I moved here, I decided the gym's close by, let's get back into it. And that's what really motivated me to get back started. Some of it was spite, I will say, but for the most part, it was more just I want to prove everybody wrong. And that's kind of that kind of mentality motivated me to get into the gym. I would go in the mornings, I would go in the evenings, and I didn't go twice a day every day, but I would do it relatively often. And then for the last few weeks, I've been going twice a day. I reevaluated my workout regimen, and it allowed me to do a lot more from that, which is really cool. But on top of that, I was able to get back that heavy muscle growth that I got. So all that explosive workouts I was doing post-COVID, I got some of that back. But then on top of that, I got a lot of that deep muscle back too. I mean, you don't generally lose it. It takes about 2 weeks for your muscles to start to degrade. And it was only a couple years, but that still was 2 years where I was barely pushing myself. So I lost a lot of that strength, really. More importantly, the elasticity. That's the real kicker. It wasn't so much the strength. I could still technically lift 100 pounds, but I was struggling. I couldn't curl it anymore. And so that idea of just how quickly your muscles can react and how smoothly, let alone doing it without getting hurt. And so I got both of those strengths back, plus some new strength because I've been working out so much. And I started doing in the mornings, trying to do cardio, but for the most part doing the trifecta. So push-ups, pull-ups, and squats, and the reverse trifecta, chin-ups, lunges, and dips. And so when I started doing that a lot more, it got a lot of the basics out of the way. But then in the evenings, I could do my main meat of the workout. And I reevaluated my workout regimen to have 2 days of chest, 2 days of legs, 2 days of shoulders. And I think that really made a big difference in just how quickly I'm going back into those muscles and getting them engaged again. And I'm working really hard at staying consistent with it, but there's been some days where I skip like the ab day, for example. I just can't stand doing those leg raises and stuff like that. I'll get to it, but you got to make some sacrifices somewhere as you're ascending. So enough on that, but it was something that really motivated me and it allowed me to do a lot more. And the reason why I didn't make a video last month was partially just due to the stress around my birthday. Turning 30 was a big deal and I wanted to celebrate it. And I had a nice dinner with family. It wasn't as grandiose as I thought I was going to have, with a whole bunch of people coming in from out of town, stuff like that. But I had a lot of family members, like my uncle and an uncle who came from out of town. I had my grandma, I had my close immediate family too. So it was really nice. And I got to celebrate that. And I really kind of just focused on that. I also had lunch with my mom and I had dinner with another friend from karaoke from ages ago. So I was able to at least get some really nice intimate moments there. But what I was really trying to do prior to that on the weekend, because my birthday was on the Tuesday, so on that Saturday, I was trying to get together, make a big friend party. I had never really had an adult birthday party. Still haven't at this point because it didn't happen. Prior to this, a couple of my friends really were being toxic to me. And it put me in such a slump and such a negative mindset that I just okay, I don't want to set up a whole bunch of friend groups to come together for me because there's just too much work and too much emotional effort. And one of those friends, actually since then, I've had to drop as a friend because they just were being too machismo and too much toxic masculinity. I was I'm not dealing with that anymore. The other friend I was at least able to make up with. But that really sucked. And it really threw off my mood to do any sort of social interactions for the most part. So I didn't do a party and I didn't do the video, but I think I've been making progress since then. And the entire month of July, I really wasn't working. I had karaoke and I had a new swim lesson towards the end of the month, but that was kind of weird to not have work because I left Express at the end of June, and I'm really glad I did because it should hit the fan pretty much quickly after that. And I'm looking for jobs around where I live now, so hopefully I can find something near here. Something like a bartender would be really nice to get that experience so I could take it elsewhere as well. Coming soon, especially this month, I have a couple conferences. I have 1 or 2 conferences in October. I'm sure something's going to pop up in September. And so there's a lot of things kind of coming up that now, okay, all summer I could kind of put it off in my head, and now they're coming. And of course, I didn't say this in the blog post, which you should go check out, because every month I do the blog post, besides last month, and the video, and in each one, they kind of give a slightly different angle and sometimes different information, because I just think about it after the fact. But I just didn't realize that all of my bills are coming together at the same time. Internet, phone, even the web hosting, that's a yearly purchase for my website, is also coming, and that's a huge expenditure. And then something else hit me. Oh yeah, the yearly annual fee for the gym. Of course it hits me this month instead of last month or next month when I have more freely available income and not being spent on stuff. And so that was a huge chunk out of it. And then I don't have a job, not a main job at least. And so that was kind of frustrating at that point, but I managed to make some income in the last week or so, and I ran karaoke a couple weeks in a row, so I made some income there. But it was so very frustrating that this all hit me at once, and it's still hitting me right now. I still have more and more bills coming out, and I think actually in a week or so I have the regular fee, monthly fee for the gym. And actually, speaking of fees, Spotify. So in the news right now, currently, Spotify and YouTube and all these other platforms are starting to do ID verification to make sure you're an adult and stuff like that. And there's a lot of privacy concerns, and I have no idea where this is going. And this might not be a big deal. It might be a huge deal. Could be a authoritarian, George Orwell kind of thing. We don't know. But I have been looking at the idea of just making an MP3 player out of my old phone or buying one off the line for a long time and just kind of storing everything on there. And I think that would be a really cool idea. Maybe I'll pull out the Pixel 3, wipe it, and just put a whole bunch of music on. I don't mind downloading music from Spotify. Like, yo-ho, yo-ho. And where's my pirate hat? Overall, I mean, I've paid enough money to Spotify over the years. I don't mind. But I definitely love having that Spotify DJ, the random mixes and playlists that it creates for you. But if it's going to keep going down this route of just being really scummy, they were scummy to their artists, they were scummy to a lot of their users with price increases and the way they handle accounts and customer service, and now they're doing weird stuff with investments. It's like, I don't trust you, Spotify. In fact, Spotify from the beginning was really sketchy because they basically stole all their music just so they could have it on the tool. So there's a lot of issues with that, but for now, I'm not going to go into that too much. Other than that, I can't think of a whole lot besides the fact that I'm no longer focusing on this channel, which is my quote-unquote main channel. It's my personal brand, PolyInnovator, but I'm not doing polymath interviews right now. I don't have the energy or focus to do any polymath videos or even like PKM videos at this point, the personal knowledge management. So really, this channel has been kind of on hiatus for a while. And I've been focusing on the creator channel here and there. It's the only one I've been consistently posting to for the most part. Trying to do some creator interviews, although I'm kind of behind on recording any. And then the gaming channel has been just been dead in the water for the last year and a half for the most part. And I want to do more with that. And ideally, I might do the Pareto principle, 20% on gaming, 80% on the creator channel. So I basically refactored all of my social media profiles and my focus on this new name, the Content Polymath, for the creator channel, so that way I can really push hard on that, get some progress there, maybe make some more income from that. So if you're interested, please go check out that channel. Otherwise, go read the blog post for the Now page update this month. Thank you for watching.